Furia dug themselves a hole, but luckily they had a few ladders to get out of it because they managed to come back and win the game when they were down 8-4 in the second half. Furia once again defying expectations as they pick up a victory there against MiBR on Pearl. I'm Golden Boy alongside with Mimi and Sean Garrison. I mean, just jumping right into this one, Mimi, it's been incredible to see how this Furia team, when you think that they're in a position where they just can't win or MiBR stepping it up, then you look at the track there and you see that Furia wins 8 rounds in a row. That's nuts.
It's ridiculous. This is the most possible Pearl game of all time. But we came into this matchup talking about the fact that this was an important one for both these teams to renew their mental after a rough Super Week. And if an insane comeback on map number 1 isn't the thing to prove that Furia's mental is in a good place, that getting Carlisle back in the team hasn't helped them regain, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I was scared for Furia that first half because MiBR was hitting to start the game, right? They won the bonus. They won the pistol. We saw the Brazilian Talents come in. They need pistols. They got their pistol. They got the bonus. They're off to an insane start. They're abusing the B site. It was all the usual suspects that when you watch a Pearl game, right? That's actually them holding that bonus flank coming through. Everything they were doing in the early parts of this game was great. And then there was an adjustment that Furia made. And Furia just cleaned up the late part of this half. And it was just enough to get enough rounds to win this game. But I actually thought MiBR had a great game plan out of the gates.
Yeah.
It just fizzled out.
It did. And for Furia, the things that they fixed at the end there was playing around mid a little bit better and not going for those reflanks that were getting constantly shut down by MiBR. That's what built them the few rounds that they needed that once we got to the second half, they just rolled with. They won that pistol, won the bonus, and it was something like 8 rounds before they were stopped.
They were unstoppable, and it really just felt like every player on that team was just hitting. Like there was simply nothing that they could do. Every round they thought they had the read. Nope, they ended up losing 3 players right out of the gate. It just is not something that you can have happen when you have a lead like that.
I think the biggest example is when they just went for a straight up B hit and they got the first 2 kills. They knew that MiBR was going to save and they headed it off. And
they read their save.
Savers. Yeah, it was ridiculous the reads that this team was pulling out. But on top of that, the individual gameplay was fantastic. This was a rebound for Digizin.
I feel like it was almost all in the second half too. He looked insane in the second half. Some of those entries, particularly like the second to last round where he updraft dashed over screens.
Yes.
The B kill onto Heat, nonetheless, the other Jet. I mean, he had some ridiculous entries. Fell apart in like the late rounds, but honestly, this was like one of those staple DG performances.
Yeah, I do have to ask a question, though. We gas up Heat a lot, great player, but it feels like it has not been clicking, especially in the context of Digizin, Mimi. We're like seeing him kind of wake up toward the end of that game. You were kind of hoping for the same for Heat there to keep him in it.
You were, and Heat looked solid, but it again seemed like some of the classic MiBR things where when these games get tight, they just look a little bit disjointed. In so many of those retakes, it felt like one person had a slightly mistimed piece of utility or was going ahead of another, and every time one of those mistakes was made, Furia was so good to take advantage.
Yeah, there was a couple times like Heat got caught at B. There was the time where I believe it was like the Harbor ult caught Maurice falling off into lane. And then there was the brutal clutches, like dropping the Viper's pit in the one-on-one. Oh my God, that was so cold. Yeah. That was insane that they won the one-on-one that way. I mean, so many of those late rounds just all went in Furia's way.
And if it wasn't for that clutch, we would be spinning a completely different story of MiBR managing to rebound. They almost did it, but it's not enough against a team like Furia, and that puts them now in a pretty dangerous position in this series.
It really, really does. But look, folks, if you want to warm up like a pro and see how they do it, why don't you check out our Aim Lab shoot-around? Here's JZZ with you, who's going to be shooting some bubbles while we talk more about MiBR and, well, I mean, what the struggles are going to be as they head into map number 2. This is certainly not a situation that MiBR, Sean, thought that they would be finding themselves in, but here we are, and now it's time to see what this team is made of when their backs are against a wall against familiar opponents.
Yeah, and they had a really good game plan on their opponent's map pick. I mean, the question is whether they can do that again in this series. And I think they probably can. There are scrappy elements to MiBR's game, and in those time frames, I give huge edges to Furia. So can they have a full game plan on a map? I think it's a lot more likely going into their map pool because that's where you're going to put the most practice into.
We've talked a lot about Carlisle, but I'm looking towards Bazooka and the coaching decisions that MiBR is making heading into this one. Because as we've seen, Furia's comp with the Chamber is quite exploitable. And if they go back to that one again, there can be a lot of prep that you're putting in to punish that one. But that also brings up the question of whether Furia does return to that comp, or if expecting Split in the map pool, they change things up and go a different direction.
There you can see the series layout. As we get ready for Split, our second map, it's going to be MiBR's pick here. And yeah, you guys bring up great points. If we see Chamber, that would be cool. I wouldn't be mad about that, right?
That's a charm, right?
Yeah. I like the nervous laugh there, Mimi. I think that's what a lot of us are feeling right now as we jump into Agent Select. Let's see what Digizin locks in as QCK is going to bring the Viper.
If he picks Chamber, Sean, I'm going to freak out.
Oh, I'm going to be so happy.
I'm going to freak out.
I'm so excited. Okay, well, and
Please, no. Yes, yes.
Mimi can live.
We've stopped trolling.
No more trolling, no fun. That's it. Heat over to the Rays. All right.
So my question now is, do they go to a double duelist? Because they were playing the Rays before, or do they stick to a solo jet comp, maybe put out a Sage, something like what 100 Thieves does?
Ooh, that is a good question when it comes to Furia's side. I actually don't know which way they're going to go with it. They go the double duelist. We've seen a lot of success with the double duelist on Split. Super surprising, but the map has flipped to almost being attacker-sided when people run this comp. A lot of value on the site pops, particularly.
Yeah, the defensive side is going to have to be solid from this squad. But looking over at the side of MiBR, they're going back to what they've played before. This solo duelist composition with the double controller. It's pretty standard stuff for this map. Just that solo initiator in terms of the sky, where they've looked good at, particularly on their defense. I think their retakes with JCC and Heat have been really effective.
All right, this is it. Map 2, Furia, MiBR. Let's go ahead and send it over to your casters. It's E-Dog and B-Dubs. Wait, isn't that a restaurant?
Is esports?
Does he write these? I mean, does he come up with these?
I hope not.
It's not great if he does. Sorry, GB. All right, let's talk about Split, right? MiBR's map pick. Furia managed to get through the disaster of map 1 that was, or what could have been. But now we lean over to MiBR's map pick, but Bala, I don't know that this necessarily feels much stronger, especially when you consider Furia have gotten off of their shenanigans with Chamber.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about it because I'm kind of with Sean in some instances where I'm like, I kind of like it, but and then I'm like, I saw what Loud did to them and I was afraid of that. But MiBR actually don't play the double duelist, so you don't actually have as much punish. I think I would have preferred the Chamber here. I'm not gonna lie. And the way that MiBR has played against their in their 2 games, they won against NRG, who doesn't go for the double duelist stuff, and then they lost to the double duelist of Crew. So we'll see how this goes. This one is very, very interesting.
Interesting thing that you mentioned there. Oh, well, never mind.
Nice
Mid
stun.
aggression. He's done hunting. Oh, but there were 2! That felt like Heat, aggro, trying to make a play, trying to go and set the pace, and Furia were ready for it, man.
One thing that these double duelist comps and double controller comps do a lot is that control in mid, so that's an attempt at punishing it, but instead you have an anti-call from Furia, and it's working out really well.
Great start. And it's only getting better. Just 2 left for MiBR. Muri's is weak. Hard to stun.
Brutal.
Spike down.
They're looking to put the finishing touches on what should be a flawless
What a good dash.
pistol round. Yeah, that's fun, bro. They're feeling that.
That was fun.
Dashing in order to create the pinch.
That was fun.
And I think MW knows whether it's fun to be had or not. He is so good on this race. I mean, he's historically been so good. That's where he started his career in VALORANT. But on this map in particular, the only real chance he has to play it. And he's been the shining star for Furia in the maps that they've, the one map that they won of Split. He was a beast and actually making up for a lot of the missteps that Digizin was putting with the Chamber. And I think one thing you're gonna see here is Digizin getting a little bit more loose with it since he's not tethered to the confines of his alarm bot or his TP, his rendezvous in it. In a sense, the Jet is just a better Chamber in this case, just without the trip.
I think the prospect of a loose DG and a loose MW in a comfort role, and you talk about some of the history that he has on that agent, could be terrifying for MiBR.
And I think the nice part here for Furia as well And some of their comp changes that they've made in the past, in the game against Cloud9, they had a major one where they come in and they actually look pretty decent. On Pearl, they just had a pretty major one. And now here, this one is, it feels major, but it's actually not. The Jet slots really well into the chamber position. It just misses that one trip, which most double duelist, double controller players are not playing with anyways.
I mean, there you saw what likely would have been the exact same engagement. Stays, takes a couple of shots, and then gets away to safety. DG still close by. He took a little bit of damage there. Rotating off, and there.
Oh
I
gosh,
mean,
he's in
everyone
trouble.
is here. Is he? Oh,
30 seconds left.
one drop. A little bit of help as they rotate back, but
enemy remaining.
there's a Spectre on one side, there's a Spectre on the other.
down A.
FRZ has been the only bright spot on a rough round otherwise.
I got the spike.
Digizin's in here anyways.
10 seconds left.
Astro
10 seconds
utility.
left.
Yeah,
Yeah.
time not great. He's got to check every corner.
If he gets this kill, this is already a good, he's gonna get the plant too, which is not gonna matter. He's still gonna lose the round, but that's an ult orb, that's economy gains. That is a really good eco now from MiBR actually.
And it's really all FRZ.
I think it comes down to that jump down in ropes that yeah, MW got 2 there, but he was completely out of position, and that forces Furia to start making weird decisions, right? Because then they could pivot through ropes. They could go all the way over towards B, and you saw that a little bit of hesitance from Mazin to really take the duel and start pinching into ropes after MW dies. So we actually have a really weird buy here by Furia. The op in the heads of Digizin, but everybody else is saving. And he's not gonna have knives or anything like that. This is completely crazy.
It is bold, unconventional. Round 3 up after the rough second round that it was.
But they're still, I mean, it's still kind of bonusing. Digizin's not gonna be able to buy fully. But you're also thinking he might be able to save this one anyways, if they do end up losing the round.
Well, did you see a gun barrel?
I mean, with the finding the sky anyways, I don't think it's gonna matter too much.
Sure. Astro utility starting to go down.
Raze is tucked, MW's tucked in flowers here with a stinger. Oh, and the gravity well actually completely messes up that double satchel.
And they still haven't cleared him out. Look at him.
Oh gosh.
Spike
That
down
box
A.
has historically been such a problem for attacking teams.
What do you call it?
The discipline box.
The discipline box, man. It's apt.
Doesn't really roll off the tongue though.
Yeah, but I
Discipline
mean,
box.
it hurts. Somebody calls that the
Player
discipline
standing.
box and just moves around to
30 seconds left.
Previously it was FRZ who's the bright spot on the round. Now it's on RGL to try to make something out of a bit of a mess. And I think at best you save this weapon, perhaps.
I need a blocking vision.
Don't have very many options.
10 seconds left.
Nothing. What a start from Furia.
It's again the bonus round converted. We saw both converted on Pearl. And now here on a bonus, honestly, looking at the economy, there's no way that should have, unless Digizin got some early picks. I was not thinking that there was a real chance here, given the buy that actually came in. So now they're in a great spot. I mean, fantastic spot.
They're cruising. Still have the op for DG. You've got full rifles and armor the rest of the way. Yeah, you're sitting fine, dude. QCK has 5,300 credits.
They put the wall over to this B side, and they're going to throw the orb as well to lurk behind it. Could be a major threat. As long as MW and Khalil are here, and he stays holding that grab well, I don't think you can lurk up.
Now they're going to rotate off, and the Viper wall's there. It's stationary. They're not going to be able to get back around it. Maybe they try to hit through heaven.
Now, we already saw how they actually were considering how to counter this orb and how you're playing in front of it if you're Furia. But they didn't do anything in that regard on this specific round, so they have to do it late in the round with 1 minute left. And it will pull MW off. Remember, that's the nade I was talking about. He used it already. Now they can end up using that wall and the orb to lurk out.
They've left Miri's mid, but MW is here as well.
Satchel out.
So his position's now given away. They are going to try to funnel out onto the site. Oh, free. That's so free. The gravity well, the molly, the hold. I mean, they never really made their way out of garage. It was so hard to do.
I remember what our Brazilian coworker said at the top of the day about Furia. Tashinya said, if they clean up these ecos, and in this case we're talking about the anti-ecos, if they clean up the anti-ecos, things will go great. I don't think either side has lost one. So far, in this game, it's not really been a factor. But in prior games against Cloud9 last week, it was so devastating for Furia.
Oh, and I think to tell the story of both sides, the other thing the casters mentioned was MiBR's pistols. They've lost 2 of 3. So you see how both key spots have been addressed.
MW's deep down mid with the showstopper. They've just cleared an entire side of the map. Digizin and MW combined.
You should
Off of a gravity well, too. That was dope. Nothing spotted, though. Full side control, and off of that, they can rotate quickly back. Hey! Oh, I thought Mazine had one there for sure.
Love to leave it from QCK. Oh, he tried to pull out the shorty to insta-kill. But instead, they've got a difficult retake now ahead of them, even though they had early round success.
MW has to find some space. Heaven 2 off of Khalil on the flank. That was a clean snap from Heat. Yeah, they still haven't cleared out Muri's.
Is it planted for them? I think it might be planted for Heaven here. MW's gonna try to hold this while Digizin uses his smokes to go for half.
Just around the corner of the snap, and now he doesn't land the kill, but yep. Oh my gosh, he hadn't stopped moving!
He didn't let go of the A key!
That's a Phantom moment, yeah. yeah.
Oh my goodness. I love that idea from Furia to hold up top Heaven.
Yeah.
I should probably play some
I thought Digizin, I mean, the grav wall took him off of the first one. He had a second smoke to use, so he was...
Sorry, continue.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, bro, what can you do? You just kind of shake your head.
All right, Pit as well here now. Potentially from Muri's. And they're rushing down Digizin. He wouldn't have these escape tools last time. Now showstopper.
The fuse instantly extinguished. I mean, that throws brakes on the entire round.
Yeah, the 2 things I called out, the Viper's Pit and the showstopper. Key things to consider on this A site. And both of those players immediately gone at the beginning of the round. Digizin is starting to really farm. Particularly in that head-to-head matchup against Heat, who is so far struggling, like...
Not ready yet.
Struggling so hard on this map.
Yeah, I want to go back to the conversation we were having earlier around this Jet versus Chamber, right? Because you look at that situation,
oh, for sure.
And DG repositions off of the early aggression, the Trailblazer, and I think there was a Molly up tight. He has to reposition to where he's tethered.
Yeah.
Right? But having that freedom and the flexibility as Jet to go where you want, land that shot on the raise, secures the round.
His TP in that instance would have either been a Heaven, where he's safe and not a factor in fighting,
30 seconds
or
left.
it would have been backside A, where he's completely actually just a sitting duck against that showstopper.
Oh, yeah, he was done.
So MiBR call the save again. And looking at the stats, too, between the 2 duelists, I mean, the desk touched on how the performance went between the 2 of them on Pearl at the
10 seconds
between
left.
map segment. And now, you actually look at the head-to-head overall in the series, 8-3 for Digizin. 8-3 is significant.
That ain't bad.
And for Heat, I mean, every single duel you're losing, you're seeing him be less and less confident about going for these first engagements, about going for plays like that. And unfortunately, this composition asks that of him. He has to be that guy. There isn't a second spear like Furia has. And you have to start thinking, this is starting to slip right now. 5-1 is already an insane lead for a defensive side with a double duelist.
Yeah.
That one's a lot stronger than you would expect on attack, but it has gaps on defense. He just got stunned by his own Astra.
Poison's off.
Well, he's still taking the first engagements.
That's nice.
Hey, there's just been nothing to him, man. There's really been nothing to this attack side from MiBR.
They're still up on this smoke. I don't... Okay, Khalil is literally just watching it. That's such a great smoke that's been coming into the meta to block this heaven control out from the attack. It gives you so much room to work with as the players who are on site. And normally if you're playing on B, you get... I mean, if they take heaven, you have to hide behind pillar, you have to hide and just fall back into spawn, even push B main. You have room there with that smoke.
Obscuring vision.
This is interesting. An attempt to go at QCK, but as soon as they see that smoke, he just falls off and plays the bottom of stairs.
Oh, it's almost the exact same smoke you were talking about, just a little bit further out. This time from the attacking side, you're right, they want to pressure QCK, and, well, remaining. They can't.
20 seconds now. He might save the Vandal again. Will he get the chance? No, he's surrounded on all sides.
Nothing is free. And you see the little games there that they're playing. Even DG updrafting around the pillar to draw a bit of contact and then have a swing from his teammates. This looks clinical from Furia, man.
What a difference from the last comp to this. From the last map Furia played on this map to this.
And you know, as we saw this, the series as far as the maps go and picks bans and whatnot, you look at that and you go, okay, this is MiBR's map pick. They're going to split. They look decent in map 1. This should be a strong point, but Bala, this isn't a great map for them either. Leading into the series, I think you said it earlier, they're 1-1 on this map.
Yeah.
Like, they don't have a ton of reps, and the reps that they have been met with mixed success.
They had a nice comeback win against Crew on the map, but then just dominated by Loud. And I think that's what caused this change. But I think as well, credit to Furia. They're one of the few teams who are really changing things in the way that they play. I think some of the early success and early hype around this team was based, in fact, because they were kind of an unknown quantity, right?
Sure.
So you expect little from them, and then they go crazy. And as your opponents, you're also now able to prep a little bit more. And you saw that hurt them in Super Week. In the week prior as well against Loud.
They look very different, you're right.
But they're making adjustments, which is amazing from a team like this. A lot of times an underdog team who has surprising results and rises up the power rankings, oftentimes they stick with what they know and they never make adjustments and they never can actually break through. So here in this must-win situation for them, given the strengths of their next couple of opponents, it's lovely to see.
You imagine how much, too, a breath of fresh air is having Carlisle on site with the team. And yeah, he was involved on the weeks that he was back home, but to have him here in person certainly isn't hurting things. 6-1 lead for Furia, up in the hands of DG, controlling mid-map, and they also dropped to Pit A to deny that space and force them into B, where they have this brutal crossfire setup.
And they don't have the same wall that they used on that eco round. So those two players backside, they're going to anchor. And Digizen's here as well. They have to get a smoke off on him, but he can even drop down if he wants. Here's the wall. They're ahead of this wall. The normal one that MiBR could throw.
You got to be careful here if you're Khalil. I mean, to double satchel and a nade, you've got no mobility. It all just depends on when they decide to go. There it is. He's dead.
They gave it up.
Welcome to my world.
What's looking to be a very nice round for MiBR. They have a cosmic divide in the pit, but they're fighting into it.
Shorty.
Oh dear, just on the other side. It's right there. The spike's not down.
Spike down.
They just sat in the pit and lost so much HP while waiting for that wall to fall.
Can they win this 2v4 if you're Furia? MW is healthy. QCK is as well. No utility for the duelist. Hey, no real reason to say bye. You've got money for days, so they're going to take a shot at this. QCK wrapping around. Oh, he may have found a timing. He may have found some space. That was gross. But the post plants are so clean out from MiBR. He gets 4. You had the Killjoy playing all the way back in Garage. It was very safe.
Well done. In this situation, I actually thought the setup from Fury was quite good. I think a little bit of missed timing there from Khalil. You see he's actually in the middle of the animation where he's using his gravity well. Great round from Heat. Finally coming alive on this map.
4 kills in that round, totaling 6. Again, just kind of showing how the slow start that he had had up until that point.
Not out of the bush yet. Back to this Viper wall on the B side. Muria's used this orb as well. But Digison is literally above it. So if you end up trying to lurk through, you will just go down to that op immediately. Will they pull Digison off before actually starting that lurk is the big question.
Can't imagine they try to split through this. What a madman. Decayed through the orb, swings out by himself to hold that. It's a challenge in a place where QCK can't really trade. And I guess he's rewarded for his aggression, though, as he's able to take a deeper, more aggressive line with that op. He still has dash. He still has 2 smokes. I thought he had a kill there, too.
Oh, he's pinched right now. The players are coming up into heaven. It's not fast enough for MiBR to capitalize on, though.
QCK and MW close by. MW's flash. They're waiting for the flood out. You're right. They're absolutely pinched. Can they deal with this? Now reinforcements arriving. They have support up in heaven with the flash with Mazine. I think they're going to be able to hold this back, Baller. Well done from MiBR, though.
Spike is the one who has to cross, or they can plant in this corner. Just waiting for the spam! 20 seconds to recover it.
What a read.
But that time is going to be used for Khalil to actually get in position. They're going to plant safe. Does he have a pull? Yes, he does.
10 seconds left.
10 seconds.
Time is short now. Ooh, they're waiting. They're waiting a real long time here.
Player standing.
FRZ.
He doesn't have time. He doesn't have time.
He pulled off.
He pulled off.
He pulled off.
Last player standing.
That's devastating. He got off because of the pressure from heaven, that turret. And I mean, he must have. I can't imagine that's the decision. I think maybe a misclick, maybe an accidental scroll wheel or something like that. That hurts.
I mean, that was the round.
Credit to Khalil, though, having that grab well, getting this first pull off as time was coming close to that plant. And things exchanged across stage there. Questions asked by Furia. Oh no. It's falling apart now. He's peeking ahead of the Trailblazer, gives the kill to Digison easily. And remember, he was the guy who was coming online for this team. Continuing to lose this duel against his biggest foe currently.
What a mess this has become.
They can cast.
You talk about swing rounds or momentum rounds, losing that previous round and then getting the opener for DG just a couple of moments later. It just feels like we're talking raps, but MiBR still have a chance to make this have something competitive here.
I mean, despite all these trades, it's still advantage for Fury. Digison's gonna try to get out here, yep. Well done, but gives up the site.
Lives to fight another day, though, with that op.
And look at this. There's a triple-pronged retake coming in here with MW on the flank as well. So they're going to have a main control. They're going to realize the situation. Both players are going to be stuck here. And Dish isn't even controlling spawn too. They know there's no room for these MiBR players to move. 2 stars too for Khalil.
Concussing him.
Money's interesting here. They want to go for it. And they're not being quiet about it. That's a massive kill. Yeah, that's another in favor of Furia.
And again, it's just such really nice tactics. Little tactics to close out these rounds. Or MW's just satcheling over, making sure that he's focused on him. If you don't focus on him, you're dead. And if you do focus on him, you're dead to the other guys. And to bring it back to this fight right here, Heat swing it ahead of the Trailblazer before it clears the op off that angle. That's what the Trailblazers intended to do. So, scratch my head about that one, but to continue to speak about the performance, Heat is now 2-6. First kills to first deaths. I mean, he is struggling against Digison, which we keep bringing up, and I have to think that that's continuing to get to his head.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, and that's why perhaps the timeout can soothe things over, can calm things, because again, there's a shot at making this a competitive half.
There's a shot, but I'm thinking towards the future too. This is the last time out for MiBR. Furia yet to spend one, which means this massive comeback in the second half that could exist in the future is just so difficult to pull out without being able to talk to your coach.
Yeah.
I've seen instances of this before where Carlisle has full control about the adjustments that MiBR might be able to make. They're limited. And honestly, they need these next 2 rounds. Furia's attack side with double duelists is just going to be brutal to deal with. It's not something that, surprisingly enough, given the reputation for Furia, given the aggressiveness of Digizin and some of the other players, it's not something that they rely on, so I actually don't know how they'll play the double duelist on attack, but either way, he's into mid. He already got a tag. Wow.
Dude, I mean,
he spent so much time there.
yeah.
Dancing with the stun.
Boy, he waits until the very last second. Well, the timeout didn't change much.
Yeah. I mean, they're really expecting that ropes is going to end up being clear there, so that's a good little play from Furia. But again, the discipline lacking here from MiBR. And when they have an idea in the call, it's just not considering all the possible outcomes.
Yep.
So oftentimes Miriz comes up with a pretty good starting idea, but not able to really carry it over the line.
Yeah, the execution just feels a little sloppy, right? I think about that. I think once again about Heat peeking ahead of the Trailblazer.
And it leaves him in instances like this where the mid round is, I mean, it's so difficult. 4v3.
Yeah.
Look at the way that they're playing this. They're trying to recontrol and hold ramp, but they just don't have the manpower advantage to do that. It's one of the only ways you can really secure this round, but you see how it immediately backfires.
Meanwhile, Furia are playing everything perfectly.
Yeah.
Re-clearing ramp and having 2 to re-clear ramp, so you have someone who can help trade instead of just doing 1 on your own. It's these little things that are piling up in such a massive way.
And now you ask a 1v3 on a must-win round, 21 HP with a Spectre and no stars to work with. Good luck.
Yeah, I don't know that even luck was going to be enough for that. Another shorty kill, another round for Furia, and just more questions for MiBR. And again, no timeouts.
Yeah.
Bazooka can't say anything. I mean, he's done. It's just all up to the guys at this point. Although, truth be told, that hadn't made a difference in the past either, so.
These clutches low HP are going to be continue to get harder and harder and harder.
Yep.
With the fact that you teammates can call out the HP and the shorty in the meta as it is. It's really the beginning of a new era. Pit dropped. Plenty of ults to carry this over the line for Furia to end up with a 10-2. Avoid the curse.
Yeah.
Flash to push Digizin off the angle, and it does do that.
Toxins going up.
But they're not able to really follow up on it. And Digizin has been floating, so it's not guaranteed that that's even him in this instance. So cautious.
You should run.
I mean, the thing that's always so difficult about this KJ ult in B is how do you follow up and clear the back of sight?
Yeah, it's got to be mollies. It's good night. Okay.
I mean, double updraft and nade too. They're gonna run through a Viper Orb with Decay.
Whoa. Ran out of room.
Oh.
I've got your trail.
What, that Viper wall, I mean, that Astral wall is so
Healing over
deep
here.
so that they can try to wrap around sight, but again, slight misexecution. But it does give RGL this pocket here. And spawn control. They've got a chance. Look at the flank, though. If they wait for this flank, it's over.
Yeah, I think you just have too many things you have to deal with here. And not enough numbers to address it all.
Last player standing.
I mean, just even overwhelming one. You haven't even dealt with the flank. You don't even know what's coming. RGL with the first and
Love
surprise. Yeah, there's another.
I mean, QCK literally a human drone there. Just running ahead of his teammate.
Whew.
That is a dominant half. I mean, after we saw him Pearl, you kind of
Switching sides.
expected maybe MiBR was going to start showing up, but not here.
No.
What a half from Furia.
Everything they were doing was just correct. The big things, the little things, and MiBR just seemed like they were lost from the start. I don't know that they've really left the gates quite yet. And, well, maybe there's hope. Because we do have someone standing by who not only is criminally handsome and outrageously good looking, also decently intelligent at the game. We've got Sean standing by at the telestrator wall.
All right, Doug, thanks for that toss, I guess. But unfortunately, I'm not going to give you any positive notes here for MiBR. So this is going to look pretty bleak. This is just going to show the preparation that Furia had entering the opening pistol round of this game. Now, just watch right now on the mini-map. So what you're going to see here off the bat is a lot of pressure from MiBR on Mail onto ropes, and it's because they know how this setup works. They know how this Viper and Astra like to control mid with the orb and the star as well. So you can see they approach mid at the start of the round, they're posturing, they're trying to sniff out the setup, and once they get ready for it, the orb goes up, paint shells into Mail from Heat, but if you pay attention here, you'll notice DG has rotated over and read the play already. So already in this round, Furia has made two huge adjustments, moving DG into the vents as a bait setup and leaving MW hidden for the ramp control. So watch as MW now controls ramp. You can see they go right into DG, and DG is going to rotate into Heaven after this kill. They recognize right away that this is going to fall into an A hit because the two players maintain mid control. DG spots this into Heaven, and the rotate is just picture perfect when you look at the mini-map right now. You can see actually MW rotating through spawn, and his goal is to pick up screens. Meanwhile, the heavy part of this rotate is going to be focused on ramps, and the last person coming in as Astra will focus on Heaven. This was just such a textbook opener from Furia and a well-designed approach at retaking the A site. And this is with a new comp, guys. So I am not having a lot of faith for MiBR in this comeback. I don't know how they're going to contain the double duelist here on attack, but I'm here for it. Anyway, back to you, Doug and Bala.
No hopium from Sean, no copium, and I'm going to be honest, I don't have any either.
Yeah. Nothing from Sean, nothing from MiBR. I mean, Furia, like you said, I mean, great adaptation in the mid-round there, and also I think just the element of knowing how teams are going to try to counter that Viper in mid. But you see the difference, right? MiBR's mid-round, how difficult it is for them to approach because of slight mis-executions, and then how tough that is to follow up on. For Furia, the calls are great, and the execution is great where they end up in advantage consistently through the mid-round. Now they have to do it on the attack, though. And here's the first instance of the double dive for Furia.
And they go fast.
Very standard.
And you know, maybe no need to reinvent the wheel, but MiBR making a run at this. QCK is left alone. He was all the way on the opposite side of the map.
Whoa.
No way, bro.
They don't hear that. I think FRZ might have heard him run away at the first instance. Yeah, he's reading it. He's reading it. And Heat's already looking at spawn, so they know what's going on. They must have heard him.
Yeah.
Unlucky.
Cool idea, though. But you're right. Unlucky. Now the second pistol of the series going in favor of MiBR. But honestly, still so many other things they have to shore up.
And the time they have to do so is minimal. Very, very minimal. Split is not as swingy as it once was, especially given the meta as it stands in this double duelist comp. But I mean, Sean was very hopeful about the adjustments that they're going to make with this comp and the plan that they're going to have with the comp, given what we saw in defense. But I think it's much harder to actually activate the proper protocols and have the procedures in place for the attack side, even though it feels standard.
Oh, there's a judge on the other side. They've tried testing the waters a couple of different ways, and he realizes, yeah, he's got a feast before him. Oh, he's going aggressive, is he? He is. Gotta pad those stats a little bit, right? Flawless round for MiBR.
6-round gap. Pistol round to start was very good. But they need to convert the bonus. They absolutely need to. Every single bonus has been converted so far in the series, which is pretty rare.
That's crazy.
But let's see if this one does, because it might be the most important. If not for this, probably looking at a 2-0 for Furia.
Yeah.
And Furia is actually going light armor here, which is very interesting. It feels like at some point that shifted on Pearl, where they just all of a sudden out of a timeout started going light armor, and I think it's been working out for them quite well.
Remember the first time we saw this 4-man hit B, there was double dive, there was satchels, there was dashes, but it was standard, as you said. I think it's exactly the word you used to describe it. Do they throw a different wrinkle into things here? Yeah, this one's a bit more cautious. Meanwhile, QCK looking to find a little bit of space. He does. Dude,
I mean, good try, I guess. With the judge up close, what can you do with that?
Yeah.
You have to get up close. You have to hope for the reaction to be able to cover. And the mid-round has been called for MiBR. Just stack over towards A with the kill that QCK just got. Which means giving up B entirely. And even if he dies here, he's going to be able to have the call. That 3 have pushed heaven. And he's made it anyways. Stars coming in right now for Fury. They executes on the B side, and unfortunately MiBR are not going to convert that much needed bonus.
Well, hang on now.
I have the spike.
Hang on now. They're still alive. They still have 3.
The sad part is they can't even hear the spike being planted.
Spike planted.
I mean, that's 10 seconds off the clock on the retake already. Just 3 Spectres here, Doug.
But all right, now they know. Right? And now they're gonna go fast B, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're even struggling with the decision whether to go for it or not, but you definitely just try to get some guns here. Look at QCK. He's got read on mid, flash into B. They know there's nobody flanking. There's a triple stack on the B side if they end up coming through heaven.
Well, yeah, maybe they're not gonna win the bonus. Maybe you were right. Maybe you were right.
Unfortunate. Just gonna die to the spike now. But it's a bonus, so
it's all good.
I'm saying it's a must-win. Realistically, it is, but realistically it is, but there's still a gun round here now for MiBR. I say that because you're looking for the streaks, right? You're looking to start to accrue 4 rounds in a row, that sort of thing, so you can cut that lead down and make it mentally much easier to grasp.
Still light armor for Furia, full rifles. And we'll see the first time they want to send a bit more A 1-1-3 setup. We haven't really seen.
I mean, risky from Urias. That's a late call causing him to actually want to go into a setup where he's in ropes, but he has to cross because of the barrier instead, rather than starting over there. Which is funny because he put down the wall, which could have been placed from this side. Doesn't cost him his life though.
No. FRZ needed to stay alive here. He's got an alarm bot just on the other side of the swiper wall to make sure that there's no one trying to default through and reestablish mid-map control.
I mean, Digison has just gotten all the way through heaven. And yes, there's players inside of rope, but now the big threat is on spawn, on the screen player who's trying to watch it.
This looks like it's going to be a mess again.
Leave us.
MW tried timing a finding. Whoa! That's not how you say that, by the way. Stays alive now. They've established heaven control. They're going to get out onto B. There are only 2 members left for MiBR.
Running and following up the dog through the smoke. Gets him that screen control that he wanted.
He gets info. Turret's cleared. And look at that, they're just waiting on the other side of the smoke and spawn! They waited so long, and fortunately, FRZ gets 3 massive kills! But that could have been so bad!
I mean, I love that round from MiBR. I think Furia, yeah, sure, they were slow to clear back through that smoke, but the anchors who were on the site, they used the assist smoke that is so common to help you pivot around the back of site, but JCC actually used it to stay on the plant spot. which gave all the room in the world for FRZ to make this play.
Down A. One enemy remaining.
Because he knows one teammate's going to be left alone close and almost guaranteed a kill. I do like as well from Furia there, mauling inside that smoke, causing JZD to swing. Either way, fantastic response. 6 more to go, though. I think it's time to start counting, maybe.
No. One more, and then we can start counting.
There's nobody here. And the site is cleared super fast. Now, question is, can they get the 7 plants off?
Yeah.
It's probably going to be a yes, but I mean, with this lockdown now, too, I'm wondering exactly how you want to play this. He just pit inside, can get back site and get back into the pit.
But I think they know. Yeah, they knew. They were pinging that spot right at the beginning, and QCK's dead. The pit's now down, but the spike was planted. Oh, dear.
And this fight, I mean, this is everything. If he recontrols heaven, he does.
Dude,
all of a sudden, they can play from it.
How?
Last player standing.
How have they won this round? FRZ once again is going to have to be a hero, man. He got 4 in the previous round, and they're just toying with him now. DG's in. Felt the wrath. I mean, that's a sideshow flash. Like, we've seen that. And he still gets a kill.
Blinding on all sides. Just like the pace from Furia. I mean, all the way into sight. Instantly, and they found there was nobody there. It was a full stack.
Yeah.
Elsewhere on the map. I thought there was definitely a possibility of a fast flood. That just didn't come through.
Dude, they even played well around the pit, right? They had the lockdown. They knew the gap in the lockdown. They had everything right. Right, well, now Furia 1 map away from closing up the series.
1 round away.
Yeah, right, sorry. A far cry from the first map.
That was close. I thought the battle for 2nd place in Brazil might actually be a toss-up. Might actually be a tie after that first map. But in fact, MiBR's pick here has backfired on them in ways they're hard to continue to say. This jet pick has been phenomenal.
He's so patient, bro. Play. Well, okay. He got his, though.
Right click.
Unlucky. JZZ with 2 big kills. Now Seekers. Plenty of time left. JZZ might do this one on his own.
Down A.
Just as we call his name, QCK puts it out.
And now that problem that you mentioned a couple rounds ago, that's a Viper Orb actually up in heaven, and they're scared to go through it, given the possibility of a lurk. Oh my goodness, they're going for the reflank. What a read by Mazin and the 2 players alive right now.
Is that enough of a queue?
I think they might have left sight and not picked up the spike.
Yeah, they haven't seen it, have they?
Look at this reflank that's going to come through as the spike goes to get planted. They're going to think they have a 2v1 on site.
I have this spike.
Which they might very well.
There's the ult from Heat, though. Oh, dear.
Spike planted. 1 enemy remaining.
Yeah, it felt a little slow out from QCK in that swing. I thought maybe he gets a timing once focus is drawn towards the spike plant, but no. MiBR get to 6. I have to call this out again. Maybe I'm being a Debbie Downer. I don't know. But once again, it's taking 3Ks, 4Ks out from the anchors on the site to get them into winnable positions. Right? It's not even like they get those and now they're up 4-1 in a round. They just have to get 1 left. It's labored.
Spike plantada. Resta inimigo.
I mean, on top of that, too, I definitely think Furia in a couple instances there. A little overheat from MW, popping that showstopper immediately, not really recognizing the situation.
Yeah.
And it is going to take a timeout here from Carlisle to calm things down a little bit. And remember what we said about the first half timeouts. MiBR had none, so Bazooka gets a chance now to make some adaptations. And then the big thing I'm going to talk about here is that Viper Orb up in heaven.
Sure.
The problem is, if you spend too much time talking about that, all of a sudden the rest of the map, which has been ignored by Furia in the last couple of rounds, is getting ignored as well. So if I'm Furia, I'm pressing there in the next couple, if it even takes a couple.
Few waning moments left in this timeout. MiBR have put together a couple of rounds, but I mean, they're really only a quarter of the way up this mountain, this hole that they've dug for themselves.
I mentioned earlier the attack side of this Furia comp. I think one thing that we're seeing is actually the fact that like against the double controller, that actually is not necessarily like as big of a talking point. I think the double controller, just single duelist type comp that MiBR is running, especially with the KJ, still remains and maintains some of that defensive sidedness of split.
Blinded.
Light buy for Furia here. A frenzy for DG. And a stinger for MW.
Blocking bit.
And it's really just one rifle in the hands of Azine.
Yeah, seeing that frenzy is going to be a sigh of relief for MiBR. They don't have to withstand a force here. But then again, it puts the added pressure if we can't lose on this round.
Yeah.
Oh. The rotate from here is caught because they completely ignored the mid control here. So that's what I was talking about. Start pressing on the other sides of the maps. Furia instead opts to use the pressure that they're getting by this A ramp control. And nets them a kill elsewhere. FRZ has full information about where MW is right now and what the hit is coming on.
And you can see it. He's got the crosshair trained.
Enemy down.
Are they pushing the wall?
Enemy remaining.
I mean,
They're trying.
Okay.
They're trying. I mean, he is on the opposite side of the wall here, so if he were to go for the plant, they wouldn't hear it.
30 seconds
Oh, now.
left.
JCZ peeks to the other side. How does Mazine do this? He gets it down to a 1v2. JCZ's really weak as well.
He's one off Seekers. He's going to get it with the plant if they allow it.
And it looks like they will.
They're swinging with the flash, though. No chance to get out of this.
It was a fake flash? Either way, JCZ gets that kill. And MiBR get to 7.
That was expensive, though.
It was. It wasn't cheap.
For that Fury Eco, I mean, that was very, very expensive. And now he didn't pop those Seekers. He didn't go for the win there. I think that's a wise choice. Now they can use it for the execute, add a third dive in a sense for the double dive of MW and Digizin. But there's definitely some life here in the MiBR players. JCZ, FRZ, the anchors on that A side, finding a lot of value now. Here's where the Furia starts to pull on other sides of the map, though. We just saw a little bit of that in that eco. And now, going into some mid-control.
Where if Murius finds an opener, he can get the pit. Whoa. Dog, that is bold.
Jiggling to find the timing for when to put up that orb. And they reposition into a crossfire here in ropes because Furia has not dove past it. And look at this aggression here by the A anchors that we keep mentioning. Allows them to float. So the adjustments out of that timeout are still working on the rest of this map. QCK is going to try to duel against FRZ right now at the top of ramp.
He got across.
They heard everything about the sewers players, but this is a fake right now.
Destroyed.
This is irrelevant.
Deep flash. Fake from FRZ though. I mean, they're fully selling out onto this fake. They invested the Seekers here as well.
Oh, but they didn't smoke spawn, so he's got the angle right now. But it's still pulling the rotations right now. This is a beautiful round from Furia.
But it's got to be faster, or else MiBR are going to be able to rotate back. Look, they're already sending 2
left.
back towards B.
Lost mail control, though. So MW has room to work as this plant goes in.
I imagine he's going to want to be patient, too, to control the flank. He hears the flash. He knows they're coming as DG's in is taking the space as well. The satchel, the kill. A second, too, and he realizes where the pressure's coming from. Eventually, MW dealt with.
The triple reflank, though, here. Digis into. There's no chance you expect it.
No, there is absolutely no shot.
It's not planted for him.
Yeah, but the kills are going to be for him. Yeah. Now they know. And now it's cleaned up. DG with 3 and a series win for Furia.
Must-win instance for Furia. Not only for the regional rivalry in the last match of Brazil versus Brazil, but also for the implications for playoffs. Last week, these guys were fighting for that second seed in Americas League. This week, simply trying to secure what is still going to be a tough schedule for them. And they do. MiBR, unfortunately, have a tough road ahead of them. 3 more matches to play. And while they had one major upset so far this season, nothing else has fallen their way.
Yeah, MiBR now 2-4 on the split. They just lost. I mean, they've fallen to Furia, so you don't really have the head-to-head in case you get into a tiebreaker situation late in the season. It doesn't look great. Meanwhile, for Furia, you know, I was joking earlier, it felt like Furia started to stumble once Josh started singing their praises. But it seems like they've returned to form, right? This is why people like you, people like Josh, were so excited about this team.
Yeah, they have a lot of tools, and honestly, they're improving on a lot of levels. I think particularly for me, I'm excited because of some of the things they're pushing in the meta. I think they were one of the few teams to go Viper Harbor on Haven first. They tried that really cheeky comp on Pearl that didn't get them the win, but still put up a good fight against Leviathan. Tried this chamber too. I get really excited for creative teams, and Furia has shown that they are one, but they've also shown that they can go with the bog standard and still not look like the team that's just duel all day long.
Yeah.
No, they've got more pep in their step.
You know, people may have thought it was DG's In and Friends before. We're in for a rude awakening if you haven't been watching. Because Furia look good.
And I think they're expanding their map pool with this as well. I mean, that's a 2-0 with Pearl, which wasn't necessarily one of their strong maps that you were considering. I mean, it was okay. And then Split, which I think a lot of people were putting question mark because of that chamber comp on. So happy to see them expand. Their Haven's always been phenomenal. Their Ascent too. And at a time where one of their big keys, Icebox, has left the pool. That's super important going forward for them if they want to be Tokyo contenders.
Plenty of reasons to smile, and another win for Furia. They completely obliterated MiBR. In fact, the 13-7 that we saw in map 2 just feels like a lie.
Yeah.
It feels like fool's gold. But stick around. We'll have the devs break down that series and the Verizon post-match interview right after this.
Brazil versus Brazil matchup, and Furia comes up on top in a 2-0 fashion. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Verizon post-match interview. I'm over here with Digicine, and the first thing I want to ask him is one of the things that they talked about early on, both of the teams really knowing each other from Brazil, and how much did that play into this matchup to make that comeback on that map number 1 and the total score that we got to see for the second series?
Então, ela quer saber o que acontece. Vocês falam muito, vocês se conhecem, os dois times se conhecem bastante do Brasil, vocês jogam um contra o outro. Então, o que vocês falam antes do jogo e como é que foi aquele comeback no primeiro round?
O início de já conhecer a MiBR facilita um pouco, mas a gente não tem treinado muito contra eles, então era um jogo que a gente só estudou pelas partidas que eles já fizeram, mas é um estilo de jogo já conhecido pela gente, principalmente por ser uma guerra entre brasileiros. Então foi um pouco mais tranquilo de lidar. O comeback ali eu acho que é muito reflexo do treino. Às vezes a gente começa um treino um pouco atrás e a gente sempre consegue virar, então a gente sempre acredita que é possível fazer qualquer coisa numa partida, e foi isso que eu fiquei falando todo momento.
Yeah, he said that although they are Brazilian teams, they haven't trained a lot with them, but they know the game style, the way they play,
yeah.
And but only from mostly watching and studying their game. And the comeback was hard because he said that they, even when they're training, they start behind and then they really come back to the game, and when they feel more focused. So it was hard, but it was a good one.
And now for my second question, we see you guys change that composition on Split. Instead of playing that chamber, you were playing that Jet, and you go into the double duelist comp. Is it something that was in the plans from before? It was more adaptation for this matchup, or what was the idea behind it as you go into that standard composition that we've seen on this map?
Yeah, ela falou que vocês mudaram a composição do time e foi uma coisa que aconteceu naturalmente ou foi uma coisa planejada para trazer hoje para cá?
A gente mudou porque a gente estava com bastante dificuldade, principalmente eu de jogar, até porque hoje em dia o Chamber foi nerfado, então ficou muito mais difícil de jogar. E a gente também pensou muito mais na gente do que, sei lá, os adversários. A gente contratou MW, querendo ou não, é muito bom de race, de duelista. E eu também eu jogo bastante de duelista, de jet, então a gente falou, vamos só colocar 2 duelistas e vamos colocar o nosso ritmo de jogo. Foi isso que a gente fez.
Yeah, they thought about it. They know that it's new for them, but they hired MW, who is a good duelist, and he's also a good duelist, and they went with, why not 2 duelists, let's do it, and it worked out.
And now for another question that I have is, you as a Jet player have been playing a lot of Jet, and a lot of people are going to be playing Premier today. I want to ask you for your tips on to finding those aggressive plays that we see from you, but also just finding a balance with your team that has worked out and given you the results so far in VCT Americas.
Yeah, eles viram que você estava bem intenso hoje, com várias jogadas muito boas. E como é que foi isso, assim? O que você estava querendo com isso, assim, mostrar?
Eu acho que o jogo contra a Cloud9 foi muito da minha conta. Querendo ou não, a gente sempre pensa, a gente perdeu, mas é coletivo, a gente perde junto, mas eu senti muito isso. E eu senti na obrigação de voltar muito mais forte, de, querendo ou não, de mostrar quem realmente que eu sou, como eu jogo, meu estilo de jogo agressivo. Então, passei a semana toda trabalhando muito nisso, porque era algo que eu precisava mostrar, mais pra mim, para recuperar confiança, e deu no que deu. Eu tava muito solto, eu tava sentindo uma energia boa, tava tentando passar essa energia para a equipe, e querendo ou não, deu tudo certo hoje. Mais um mérito assim de um trabalho nessa semana que foi muito duro mesmo.
Yeah, he said that after losing to Cloud9, he felt that personally he felt it more than the rest of the team. So he said he knew he had to do better today. So that's why he brought this energy, that he was actually doing this through the whole week during the training, the practice time. He was being loud and energetic during this whole week, and it paid out today, and he did a great job.
All right, and my last question for you. The next match is going to be against Energy, and Energy that's looking stronger and stronger. What do you think is going to make the difference for your team to take that win next week?
E o próximo jogo é contra a NGR. E eles estão ficando cada vez mais fortes. O que vai fazer a diferença para vocês?
Eu acho que a diferença para jogar contra a NRG é a gente saber que do outro lado tem uma equipe muito forte, querendo ou não, o estilo de jogo dos caras é muito tático por causa da FNS, tem jogadores muito bons lá, mas o nosso principal é manter o foco, é manter esse nível de energia que é o que a gente é bem intenso, até no treino mesmo, a gente tem essa intensidade e chegar na hora não respeitar tanto, até porque, querendo ou não, fora do jogo eu respeito eles, gosto muito do Crashes lá, então vai ser um jogo maneiro até pra mim. Então acredito que a gente vai manter essa intensidade e eles que se preparem.
Well, he said that they know the team, it's very strong, and but they're ready for it. He respects how they play, their style and everything, but he also said that he's been training a lot, so there's going to be a lot of energy, a lot of intensity, outside they're all friends, but when they're playing, they're really rivals, and there's no respect. Let's just go for it.
We absolutely love seeing that energy from Furia and from you, DJC. Thank you so much for the interview. We're going to send it back to the desk to close out the day.
Thank you so much, Dryad, for that. And we decided to bring out some friends to close out the day with us here. But overall, though, all smiles on that stage for Furia as they walk away with a 2-0 win. And, Sean, you got to be happy if you're a Furia fan at this point, because this has been the day of redemptions for a lot of teams, and it's great to see Furia also in their redemption era alongside, NRG.
Yeah, this is a super good feeling win for Furia, right? Coming off of like a sketchy super week right there, but more importantly, they won on 2 comp changes with their coach coming back, right? They made those adjustments to Pearl. It looked sketchy in the first half, but the second half, their attack side looked fantastic. And then Split, they just had so much power on Split running double duelists as opposed to the Chamber, like you were saying.
Yeah, it was a great comp change for them. And, I mean, the guy switching on over to the Jet was so confident that we were just listening to. Digicin, that guy looked incredible throughout the series. For the team, it was a return to form. It looked like they had a lot better kind of understanding of the game plan they wanted to commit to going in. And the individuals were just thriving, honestly. It was a great game for DG.
Yeah, and here Digicin really brought it to MiBR, and I think that one of the advantages that, a lot of these teams have, but Furia also has this advantage, is that they have that flexibility of being able to take that pressure off of Digicin, have MW0 also be another duelist for them that can also create space, create opportunities, and then you kind of just like unlock Pandora's box here for Furia, and that is really where I think, they shine. It's when everyone just feels activated in their positions and able to contribute effectively. Mimi, I think that this is going to be a very scary Furia team to watch if they can keep this form going.
That's the big question, really. If this was just a one-off versus in one game versus MiBR, if it's something they can consistently work with through the rest of their season. But I'm inclined to believe that this is going to be the catalyst for them to start to return to the form that we were seeing from them at the beginning of this season. You have your coach back in person. You have a game that is, well, the first map got pretty close, is dominant, and one that you can reinstill your confidence from and take that, learn from, and go into the next few weeks to close out this season. And I would reckon have a pretty good chance of winning out.
Yeah, I'm slightly concerned because having this much success on the double duelist this late in the season could have them biting on that as a little bit of bait, right? Because they have 2 great duelists in MW0 and DG, obviously, and they can do this, but it makes you a little bit one-dimensional in your play. So entering playoffs, is that the best move? I don't know, actually, because they have some insane duelists. They might be able to pull it off.
Still, the thing that was impressive to me was the fact that they had a really strong defensive side despite this double duelist comp. It seemed like they had good procedures and well put together rotations despite the comp that generally favors a lot more towards those one-dimensional attack sides.
Yeah, exactly. So even though they have a one-dimensional comp, the way they play is very strategic. Like the round we went over in a halftime, right?
Yeah.
There's so much knowledge in how they rotate around these maps, even on Split where they are running that double duelist.
And that strategy is what was missing when this Furia squad was in their slump. So that's a huge thing to fix now heading into the rest of the season.
Yeah, and right now is the best time to do it, because let's take a look at the standings and where we are right now in VCT Americas. We had some movement today, not too much, but Furia's still going to be in top 3 there. But look at NRG as they have managed to climb up, and they're right behind, well, at least on the standings here on this graphic, they're right behind 100 Thieves. But if I'm correct, they should actually be over them,
yeah,
because they won the tiebreaker. So either way, it doesn't matter. You got 5th place there for NRG. You got to be feeling a little comfortable for that. But as Dryad had mentioned, you're going to be seeing Furia face off against NRG next week, if I'm correct. So, whew.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting.
It's going to be a
game.
banger match.
Yeah, both of these teams looked insane today, like kind of really turning things around, which is what we expected out of both of them.
Yeah, it is what we expected from them. And for the rest of the standings here, that middle of the back is still going to be super important for those teams teetering on the edge. For NRG, 100 Thieves, Sentinels, really for those 3 NA squads.
Yeah.
It's kind of make or break now, these next few wins on whether or not you make playoffs. It's only 6 teams that'll progress.
That's right. Keep a look at the standings, because you're going to see what matches are coming up tomorrow in a moment here. So this way, you can keep a mental note, because you're going to be getting some really awesome matches. You have, first and foremost, a North America just giga banger. I'm calling it. I'm sorry, Mimi.
It's the last NA match, and honestly, it deserves that.
It deserves it. Thank you so much. It's Cloud9 versus Sentinels, and then we close out with Leviathan going up against Evil Geniuses, which I don't know which version of EG we're going to get here, Sean. Could be the bad one, could be the good one, could be the not so good one. Who knows?
Literally 2 different teams, right? Depending on which comp they run, which day it is, what map it is. I don't know. Are they going to get 13-0'd? Are they going to blow out the other team? Who knows? Let's tune in to EG to find out today. That's what it feels like.
Tune in next time.
I think an EG game is going to be a stomp. They go and win a map off Loud.
Yeah. So really,
You can't
in Americas,
underestimate them.
anything is possible.
Yeah. And that C9 game as well. Like, you favor C9 there, but Sen just announced that they're keeping Marved in the main roster for the rest of the season. They were playing with him with very little practice in Super Week. Now with an extra week behind them, who knows what's possible?
Do you think Cloud9 sweeps all the NA teams?
Dude.
I mean, it would be really cool if they
What
did.
a great arc.
Story.
What a great story it would be for C9. But that is a story for us to tell another day. Thankfully, that day is going to be tomorrow. So make sure you come in here, same time, same place. Hang out with myself, Mimi, and Sean, and the rest of the crew as we look to break everything down. We thank you so much for tuning in. And as always, we'll see you tomorrow for some more games. Catch you then.
Sean, you got a warm-up scrim for us for Premier?
That's me.
Who wants me on their team? Anyone?
No.
Let's go.
Okay.
You're out.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Week 5. Today, 4 teams try to find their footing and forge a path to Tokyo. 100 Thieves versus NRG. Let's get it on.
Positioning, it's not good. Cryo constantly having to adjust. He's finding his ones. What? One more down. Still finds the 4th. Unbelievable. Jumping straight up. You've got to be taking his fights clean, though, and it doesn't look just that likely. The frenzy's in the face. NRG, he's just... So many things to be dealt with on top of the wall. Trying to watch for it, drops down. It's NRG to get themselves onto that 12th round. What a masterclass.
NRG back to comfort territory. The Kings of Bind, they keep it going.
Behind the dice, though. That's what they'll strike, but it's that pincer. Safe hands from Derek. 3 in a round 4. Cryo potentially opened himself up there to many, many angles, but backs away to safety. Now a flash as well, pushing it back, comes out of this. Oh my word. Sticking it through, no, gets on with it, trying to double play it. Derek, you need to win this fight out, and it's not likely.
You're true.
And too much to do, 13-3. One of the most one-sided maps we've seen, not the most one-sided yet. NRG win it in a 2-0 fashion.
Both teams need to win, and neither can afford a loss. It's MiBR versus Furia, 2 top-tier Brazilian teams. This is going to be a fun game.
Looking to make a play. He cannot. Oh, God. Oh, no. They were all flashed. He still has a lot of space here, too. He's still got a chance for another. Yeah, they've wiped the floor with this. First swing out. It's a 1-for-1. And they used the Reckoning. Oh. We were due a shorty kill, weren't we? We were due a shorty kill. Furia somehow close this map out and take a 1-0 series lead. You're right. They want to pressure QCK, and, well, they can't. They're not being quiet about it. That's a massive kill. Yeah, that's another in favor of Furia.
And again, it's just such really nice tactics.
And now it's cleaned up. A series win for Furia.
Must-win instance for Furia, simply trying to secure what is still going to be a tough schedule for them. And they do.